Okay, sorry, I was muted. Let's start again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you from all around the world. We have people around this room from 13 countries, from Canada to Russia, from Sweden to South Africa. It's my pleasure to be the moderator of this webinar. I am one of Pinnacle's responsible for the business development in Egypt. My name is Ranim Ismail. The webinar will be segregated into two sections. The first part is going to be a discussion between our two speakers, Roland Friedl and Sherif Youssef. The second part will be a Q&A that you will be writing in the chat area, and we will try to answer them all. So please indicate if you direct the questions to one of our speakers or to our host, Mohammed Munir, founder and managing director of Pinnacle Limited. So without further ado, let me leave the mic to Mohammed.
Hello, good morning all. Ramadan Kareem for all who are fasting. Just making sure that you can hear me. I'm not unmuted. So I'm honored to be hosting you all. And I'm really lucky to have such a wonderful team here in Pinnacle who are actually embracing our belief that every organization, whether big or small, have a potential within. Together, we will be reaching the top of your potential. And this is the promise that we make for all our clients. We will not talk about the COVID-19, I promise, because I think that you have heard enough about this and enough is enough about it. So it's going to be around the COVID-19. However, we're not going to be talking a lot about it. So all what I'm saying is now, and the reason why we are making this kind of webinar is that we found that disruption and density of changes caused by the outbreak of the coronavirus created a whole new set of challenges facing the world economy and all types of business. Business will not be as usual. This is a fact. We can see that happening. We're not gonna get back to norms when we start the business back or after the coronavirus, and hopefully soon. But business will not going to be as usual. We're not, in Pinnacle, we understand those kind of challenges and was able to create a set of webinars and trainings modules that is planned to support your business to be prepared for the near future. And the future is, what we're talking about is the future is now, because we need to act now. Your decision today will impact your business tomorrow. I encourage you to ask all questions you have in mind, and I'm sure your time will be well invested in this webinar. I'll hand it back to Ranim, that she will be starting the conversation with Sherif and Roland.
Okay, let's start with Roland.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon.
And Sherif.
Hi, good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is Sherif Youssef. I'm joining you from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And in case of anybody is asking, the time here is 5 a.m. Yes, it is 5 a.m. I woken up 5 a.m. in the morning just to do this webinar. Okay, so if I fall asleep, please bear with me. Thank you all for joining. It is a pleasure to be part of this team, and it's a pleasure to be working with this lovely team. I'm just here to as one of the people delivering some messages and hopefully some good ideas to all people around the world that are joining us. I'm joined by the well-renowned Roland Friedl, and Roland is one of the very few people that I've met that has so much experience in what he does. Trainer, coach, business consultant, and I mean the list goes on and on. So it is a pleasure actually to be working with Roland. And to those of you who are not who don't know me, I'm a marketing consultant. I've been doing marketing for all of my life, and I decided to go independent the last few years. So here I am, and I joined Pinnacle, and it's been a great ride so far. So Just welcome everybody, and I would like to hand it over to Roland from this point here.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sherif. Hello, everyone. I'm Roland Friedl. Maybe from my accent you can hear, I'm Austrian originally, but I speak to you from Spain because this is where I live now on the beautiful island of Mallorca. And that's what I really love in the business, is that we are a worldwide community with all these options and possibilities of connecting with phones, with WhatsApp, with all the tools we have now on Zoom. And it's a great pleasure and a great honor to speak to you today together with Sherif. And as you mentioned, I'm working since almost 30 years in the field as a business coach and a trainer. With a lot of experience as I was because I know both sides. I was an employee, as a salesperson, as a member of a board director, the youngest at the time in Austria, and then I found my own enterprises worldwide. So I know both sides. So I'm not talking about theory. I love practicing, and I love to people support to their peak so they get the results they really want. That's my option. Okay. So, and I think you're all here, and some of you are maybe in your home office. Some of you may be in the company office, somebody maybe join us from the car, and maybe some of you work for a company or own your business, even it's a small business or a mid-sized business or a large business, and you're watching us now and listening to us, and maybe you're wondering, how can I make my business more profitable in a time that is uncertain? And while you're thinking about my words and their effect on you, you might already be thinking about what you will achieve in the near future. And you begin to form pictures of the ways in which success will enrich your business. And that's why we are here. And while you're imagining that what will become possible for you, you will probably think about the next cruise ship getaway after business is back to normal. That's our goal for you. And that's what we will do, Sherif and I, together the next, let's say, 30 minutes. And as mentioned before, when you have some questions, just put it in the chat. We will answer them afterwards all. And also, if there are additional questions, please don't hesitate to question us, whatever you want. Thank you so much, Sherif.
Yeah, so yes, like Roland was saying, so we are going to do some Q&As at the end. So yes, please share with us your questions. But what we're going to talk about today affects all types of business, and especially amid the global pandemic. Now, we're going to discuss how to overcome these challenges, because everybody has got challenges now, and one of the biggest challenges is to stay on task, is to stay focused. Maybe you don't really think about it, but it is actually one of the main things that we need to as business owners and managers and leaders need to try to fix ourselves and make sure that we are doing all the right things to stay focused and on task. It's not only going to affect us this difficult time. What I see is that it like Munir was saying at the beginning, it might actually become the new normal, as I like to say, for the next maybe 3 to 6 months, maybe a year, or maybe years to come, for that matter. But what you need to do as a business or as a business owner is to make that shift to cater for that new normal. And we've asked you a poll at the beginning, and we're going to share your results towards the end of the conversation here. So what does all these things result in? Your mind starts losing focus on the important things, because you're defocused now. You are thinking about things that are beyond your control, things that are really not important. And this is the main thing that we want to discuss here with you. So Roland, how do you stay during these challenging times, working on task with all these distractions around us?
Actually, this is a question many managers and leaders are asking me, where to pay attention, because it's so difficult when you're distracted. And maybe some of you know Aldous Huxley, and he wrote one of his books, experience is not what happens to man, but what man makes what happened to him. So it's all about how we react on the challenges we are facing. And actually, challenging time, it's very easy to get distracted. And even experience, I would say, yeah, more pressure, internal and external one. So there's
Roland, can I interrupt you just 1 second? Your sound, your voice is going away and then coming back again. I don't know if it's just me or everybody in the room.
Okay, maybe it's my network. Sorry, the network in Spain is not very good.
Oh,
Okay, I repeat it.
sorry.
Okay, sorry for that. What we have in challenging time is that it's very easy to get distracted, yeah, because we experience even more pressure, internal or external, because there's insecurity, there are doubts, there's even fear, anxieties. So for many of us, it's very difficult to stay focused. But what we know is that focus on what you can control instead of what you can't control. So the challenge is that many people focus on things they can't control instead of what they can control. But focusing on things you can't control leads to frustration and to defocus. So it's very important to focus on what you can control, because it's all about where you're paying your attention, where goes your attention. Because you know, where the focus goes, the energy flows. So it's all about staying on task. Staying on task, it's very critical to have a clear thinking by gathering and analyzing accurate information. That's what all about. So not get distracted what's around, a rumor, what you're hearing. So it's all about having clear thinking, staying on clear thinking, gathering information, analyze accurate information. Because on the other side, defensive thinking is often selective information. So we have to gather all the information. We have to stay in control.
So if I were to summarize a few tips to stay in control, I would say one thing is to get detached from the outcome. Get detached from the outcome. So when we get detached from the outcome and attached to how we're going to get there, there's a big difference. There's a big gap there. I'm a true believer that we can create magic in our businesses, but that means that we have to be able to distinguish between what we can control, what we cannot control, as Roland was just saying now. So we need to get attached to what's in our power and then humbly surrender to the universe, see what the universe will bring to us. So one first tip is to get detached from the actual outcome, but get attached to how you can get there. Okay, that's one thing. The other thing is that embrace the things that things don't have to be perfect. Okay, so at this stage, yeah, things don't have to be perfect. They just have to be good. Okay, we don't have to feel great 24/7 or love everything about our industry or everything about our business. We have to welcome both the happy and the not so happy thoughts in our business as well. So we can stop making ourselves thinking wrong and start creating results even if they're imperfect. So embrace the fact that you don't have to be perfect, and then also be consistent on the small day-to-day things. Biggest results don't come when we focus on the big goals. They come when we focus on the small, consistent, right actions that are in our control each day to complete and execute. The small goals that will ultimately bring those big goals to life. So here are some examples. So, for example, strengthening your social media presence. That may be a small goal. In a bigger goal, which is basically your marketing strategy, you need asking for the sale, following up with leads. Yeah, following up, even if excuse me, even if you're away, even if things are not going very well, especially with the pandemic, just follow up, give a call, reaching out and connecting with peers and potential clients. That still doesn't need to stop. You still can't keep doing that because these are the smaller things that will take you to a larger goal going forward, right? If you show up and do these things consistently, the results you're trying to control will begin to show up like magic. So when you're focused on everything you cannot control, it can be so stressful. And when you're stressed, then you don't produce and you're very not productive. So and it can be so stressful to figure out what you've even showing up consistently for. So when you're focused on what you can control, though, it becomes very easy to figure out what you need to show up for and how you can get there. All right. So what about you? What is the one thing in your control that you can work on in your business that will move you closer to your big goal? Think about that. One thing, maybe we can have like a quick discussion at the end. What is the one thing that you can control and you can work on in your business that will move you closer to a bigger goal? All right. That's why Pinnacle is launching these series of coaching webinars. We want to help you make these right choices. We want to help you choose these smaller objectives to reach the bigger goals. Roland?
Yeah, absolutely, Sherif. Absolutely. It's all about where you pay the attention. And I know that it's not difficult in distracted times. So therefore, it's really an advantage. And I really recommend this to have an external coach on your side that helps you thinking out of the box. It's very important this time, thinking out of the box. So what we offer here, this webinar I'm facilitating is, after the first training module, you and your team will learn how to stay unfocused with less distractions and drama. That's the main outcome of the first one. And so afterwards, you will absolutely recognize when a team member is not aligned and can immediately, so you can immediately intervene positively before other team members are impacted by that, and your team performance won't be negatively affected. So this will be the first outcome of the first webinar. Yeah, thank you.
The next one is the remote leadership, remote leading of teams. The skills, what you need as the skills and the mindsets that supports your virtual leadership. Everybody now is working remotely. Almost everybody is working remotely, and very few countries have just started to ease up their emergency measures. So sometimes you're put in these situations as a leader where you're consistently on the go, or have to work from multiple offices, or even have teams in multiple locations, or even you're hit with a pandemic and you have to deal with it remotely. So now some companies can be absolutely terrified from that concept of working remotely, right? A lot of us can think, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to keep control of my teams and so on? So, but others have embraced it fully. What about you as a leader also? What do you think? How are you going to cope with the different locations and the possible different time zones and so on? So the question is, what kind of mindset and skills are helpful for virtual leadership? Roland?
Sherif, this is a very important question, because, you know, what I see from my experience of 3 decades is many people, many managers are focused on skills, but it all starts with the mindset. Yeah, with the mindset as a leader, but also the mindset of each team member. It always starts with a positive mindset. For me, that's the starting point. Yeah, to be aligned. So when I talk to managers behind closed doors or on the phone, I always think about how can I trust my team? It's all about trusting the team, because you work remotely. Sorry.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that, Roland?
Just to mute somebody. Okay, somebody was crushing it. So I should repeat. I said when I talk to managers, yeah, face to face behind doors or on the phone, what they're challenging is now in this during time when leading a remote team is that they really don't trust their team members. So because they're not physically see them working, you can't step in the office and see, okay, my team is working or not. Everybody's sitting in their home office. So what it helps is to learn to trust, because fear and suspicious mind is absolutely not helpful. That's for the very important for the mindset. And what I really suggest is, and I will go with Albert Einstein, and he once said, we cannot solve a particular problem at the level at which it was created. We have to approach with absolutely different thinking. So whenever we have a problem, it's very, from my point of view, it's very advisable to leave an eye for the fact that the form, the structure, and the process are more important than the content. So when you communicate, it's very important. And in this way, we can take the problem to a higher level, because we look totally different on this. So thus we take a step in a direction that, yeah, that makes generative solutions possible for us. And with generative solutions, we mean those changes that bring us to a higher level in all areas. So we are talking about excellent behavior, in fact, that is contagious. That what we do well, that what we're doing well is what motivates us to do even better. And it also motivates us to make other things in our lives better too. So it all starts with the mindset. Yeah, we're getting better, we get motivated, we do everything better. And I can tell you here that also coaching is very helpful and supportive to find out where is this anxiety is coming from and this suspicious minds coming from. And I guess together we will rewrite your script and achieve outstanding goal. And this will absolutely be epic, I think. And this will absolutely be a game changer for you and your team, starting with a positive mindset. Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It will be a game changer. And a few of the things that need to be considered here is, well, these are just for an example, is how you manage your team's schedules, for example. Does your IT infrastructure well support the remote access to your systems? How to ensure that your supply chain will not fail you, and many more examples. So the idea here is to closely monitor the things that you can control again in order to gain everybody's commitment and buy-in to make the remote setup a success. Now, having said that, now you need to communicate. And this will be our next section here that we're going to talk about, which is about communication. And communication is key in organizations. To the success of the organization. So, Roland, considering internal and external communication, is there a blueprint that every company should follow?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, not only in remote teams, but specifically here, because a clear communication is absolutely critical for the success of the team. So the clearer you communicate, the more misinterpreting is there. So the more you limit the room for interpretation, let's say it like this. Yeah? The clearer you communicate, the more you limit the room for interpretation, and the higher is the chance that your counterpart understands what you want, and then your team can take the actions that you expect. So I highly recommend for setting a very, very clear communication so that everybody in the team understands what you're expecting, understands how to do it, how to reach this goal, and also have their own self-motivation. And this will for sure, as a leader, save you a lot of time that you would otherwise really invest to readjust your team, because you always have to go feedback, readjust. So you will save a lot of time when you have a clear communication with your team members. And I really stress it out. So that you're really sure that everybody knows exactly what you expect to do, that you know exactly that your team member knows how to do it, and the team members also know why they should do it this way. And when you have this clear settings, this clear communication, you will see you will succeed. You have much more energy and resources, I say, wasted to readjust. And because this always leads to frustration. And I had attended a lot of meetings when I coach leaders. I've always been involved with their meetings, and I give feedback afterwards. And I often see it in my consultancy that when I'm present at a meeting, that the manager did not communicate clearly to everyone. So their expectations not clear to the team members. And when I ask afterwards, both the managers and the team members, it seems very often that they have not been in the same meeting. Because the communication was not clear. So most of the content communicated by the leaders and the content perceived by the employees were not identical. And this is absolutely terrifying. Yeah? So I suggest in order to avoid exactly that, we will deal with how to make your meetings more efficient and thus significantly increase the performance of your team in the training and coaching sessions we offer. So we really stressed it out that you set a clear communication in the future for yourself and your team. So after this particular training that I'm offering, this particular module, your meetings will be more inspiring, because it's all, I believe in our days, it's less about information, it's more about inspiration, inspiring your team, not only informing, it's all about inspiration. And so your team will be much more engaged and actively participating. That's the goal you should reach. So they will exactly understand what your goals and expectations are, how they will achieve it, and why they should achieve it. So their internal motivation. Because don't believe that your motivation is the motivation of your team. No, each team member has to have his own or her own motivation. Why to reach these goals together with you this way? And this will absolutely boost your performance. Absolutely.
So it's less about the information, more about the inspiration. That's, everybody keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we realize that having to work with teams remotely needs to inspire them, and it can make it very difficult for the team members to get to know each other. That's one thing. So definitely an inspiration is very important. And we realize that effective communication entails sending out the I would say the right message to the right people at the right time. 3 rights. It's all about like sending the right information to the right people and choosing the right time as well. That's why we focus on, in this module, on making sure that your teams are fully engaged and eager to be present at all times. Present, not necessarily physically, but yeah, even virtually as well. How do you take these steps? How do you ensure that your business is ready to move to take on challenges, especially in times of crisis? In times of crisis, everybody has to react differently. So we're all affected right now with the COVID-19 in different levels. So how do you make a successful recovery? Roland?
I can go to, I just want, if it's okay, I just want to add something to the topic before.
Sure.
What I see in my consulting is there are no lazy employees and team members. They don't do it, or what you want to do is, it's not because they're lazy, because they don't know how to do it. And because they want to avoid to make mistakes, they don't do it. That's the point. So that's I want to add this. It's very important to have a very, very clear communication team member. Okay. And using really every minute you talk to an employee, using for coaching, help them. As a leader, it's not only to receive the results and the goals that you set with the company. It's also about coaching your team members. That's what I wanted to add. But okay, to your question, how I see the phases, what we can do right now in this situation.
Yes.
Actually, in general, not about this situation now, but in general, this is my strong belief system, is I firmly believe that every crisis, if it's a private one or a business one or world one, gives us the chance to grow. Every crisis gives us the chance to grow. And my attitude is to keep asking myself, if this is supposed to be good for anything, what could it be? And what is it all an opportunity for us? And I'm here in Spain. I'm locked down since 8 weeks now. I want to give an example from a private. I can't travel. I even can't see my parents. I'm only allowed to go to the supermarket, to the doctors, that's all. I'm even not allowed to go to the beach. But unfortunately, I live on a huge property here, so I can walk on my own property. But I'm locked in as everybody else. And I'm thinking about, what is this good for myself? And you know, I found out that in the beginning, maybe you have to feel the same. In the beginning, we have been kind of shocked a little bit. And the shocking phase, I call it the pause phase. It's more positive, the pause phase. For some, it's a second. For some, it's an hour. For some, it's a day. Some need a week to adjust for the new situation, because for most people, it's very challenging and they get triggered when something is changing. Yeah. So I see the first phase is the pause phase for me, because I don't want to call it a shock phase. Also, it's for many. And the pause phase, that is the phase in which some may resist and rebel against what is happening because they're not used to it. Maybe some people can't handle it. And in this phase, a lot of frustration, anger, anxiety can arise with others like resignation and depression. So we must also take this into account as a leader. When we go through this phase with our employees, that happens to them also. They're also going through these phases. So after the training, you will have tools that will help you to deal more effectively with those challenges. And you will also learn how to coach each team member so they don't get stuck too. Yeah? And that's the pause phase. And I hope that everybody now is in the reflection phase, the second phase that is very important. It gives us so much opportunity. So when we awaken from this rigidity, we can move on to the next phase, the phase of reflections, yeah? Of reflecting. What goes well, for example? What could be better? What have you adapted well in the business? What is working? What is not working so good? Yeah. What can we do completely differently in the future? So it's a very good time just to learn about this new situation and to be ready for the future. Because there's a great danger I see that we will then fall back in the old patterns. When I talk to managers on the phone, so some of them say, you know, when the crisis is over, we go back to the old routine, but working harder. But I don't think this is a good way. Yeah, it's not about falling back on the old patterns, Sherif, and the old strategies, and then produce more of the old, instead of embarking a new and innovative models. And that's a chance here. Yeah. So this is for me an ideal time, and I personally do it too. I change all my different business areas still around. Besides my coaching, my consulting and coaching company, I have different companies around the world. So we use this time now and think about new models. And my personal opinion is the last chance, if you want to be successful and profitable in the future, is right now. So use this reflecting phase, and then go, Sherif, to what I call the restart phase. You know,
Yes.
It's a perfect time, I believe. And maybe it sounds a little bit rough, but I strongly believe it's a perfect time now to attack your own business model. For example, to question it before your competitors do it. And believe me, they will not spare you and your company in the process. For me, it's very important. If you want to have a profitable business in the next 10, 15, 20 years, meaning to ensure a long-term profitability in the digitalization environment, yeah, it's very important that you just now use the time and disrupt your own business model and think about new ways, new strategies, maybe new products. Maybe you have a new product. Maybe you have a new approach to the market, how you communicate, for example, with the clients in the future. So digitalization is actually, everybody's talking about digitalization, but what I see that not everybody knows exactly what it means, and not everybody, for somebody's digitalization, doing a paper into a file, that's not digitalization. There's much more options. So digitalization is often heard or read, but mostly underestimated, totally underestimated in its impact. The question is it a specter or is it an opportunity for your business? It's depending what your mindset is. Is it a specter or is it an opportunity for the business? And the answer is so often as it is. It depends on your personal attitude, yeah, how you see it. The glass is half full or half empty, Sherif. So yeah. So basically, it's a dynamic technological development that penetrates into every corner of our being. And for sure, technology development can't be stopped. We just have to learn to discover the effects and also the opportunities in order to then integrate technologies, elements into our lives and our business processes in a targeted manner. So speed is a device factor. Not a device, a decisive, let's call it a decisive factor. It's very important, the speed right now, because the competitors are not waiting. So dealing with this opportunity of digitalization doesn't necessarily lead to a short-term increase in turnover. We have to be clarify that. Yeah, it's not working in the short term. However, failure to do so will inevitably lead to the decline of a company in a competitive environment. So we have to face this. And my coaching is about approaching the topic of digitalization from the opportunity side and develop strategy, which, for example, immediately contribute to the optimization of sales processes and to ensure a long-term competitiveness for the next years.
So is this part of the disruption process, Roland, that you were talking about? I like the term disruption. Is this part of the disruption phase?
Absolutely. This is part of the disruption phase. Absolutely. Because I mean, but we have to understand this in general. Digitalization is everybody's business on two levels. First, you as a person, as an executive, as a leader, and me personally, as a company owner, because these people, you know, are losing, they're very, let's say, very in danger of losing their heads. But so also there are the employees in the companies, no matter on which level, because the changes are mega complex. They're multi-layered, and the speed is totally underestimated, totally. Yeah. So, and second, I think you need to feel affected and understand, of course, how this potentially affects your industry in terms of profitability, because at the end, it's all about margin and profitability. And an overall view shows that digitalization is changing consumer behaviors absolutely. Think about now the situation. More people are working online, remote from work, more people ordering products online. So a lot of stuff is changing right now. And therefore the business model has to be different in the future to ensure that you're profitable in the future. So all employees must inevitably carry this change. All team members must carry this change. And for this, and I repeat it from the beginning, you have to establish a communication as an entrepreneur or leader, because the employees are afraid. They have anxieties because they don't know what changes are going on. And as many people can't handle changes. So this requires, I believe, first of all, a great deal of competence at manager level. Secondly, to understand on which levels the topic of digitalization is catching me in the company. Third, to understand that leadership is the core issue. It's a core issue. Leadership right now is a core issue in these challenging times. And fourth, you have to empower your team in a completely different way if this change is to be successful. And last but not least, for many points, is that the whole thing must happen, as I mentioned before, very quickly. It's all about speed right now. And so what I can add at the end is, so during our collaboration, you will learn to create a new business model and a new strategy to be absolutely fit for this fast changing market requirements. And they are there, if you want or not, you cannot deny it. So you and your team will be ready for a successful restart. I can promise this.
Yeah, so we need, everything happens very quickly right now. What we're saying right now is that in crisis, we need to realize the reality. Face it, we need to stop, think, and put all information on the table. Then we assess what is going well, what can we improve. Take a deep dive into one of your business functions. For example, your marketing function. Assess your digital presence. Are you utilizing social media enough? Is your website driving you enough traffic? Are you getting enough leads from your website? Is your brand recognized and associated with your product? And so on. So that's like take a deep dive, just stop, take a look, analyze the information, right? Once you've assessed the current status, you'll be able to think of what your lowest hanging fruits are and then start collecting them. And collecting here refers to the restart phase that Roland was mentioning. When you've been able to identify the gaps that will move your business forward, we'll work together with you on this. So finally, we'd like to thank you all for your time joining us for this workshop, and we hope we can work together. We will help you take your business to the next level. At this point, I'd like to hand it over to Raneem for the Q&A part.
Yes, thank you both Sherif and Roland. I have a question from Seba. She's asking, please can you give me more information on the courses? When will it start? How can I book and how many people can join?
I think Roland, this is for you.
Okay, yeah. Thank you for questioning. So, about the course.
I can answer one part, which is when can we start? And when can we start? This is whenever we get, whenever we can. You can be ready for us to start. That's one part.
Yeah. So we are ready. When you are ready, we are ready to start. The course outline will have 10 modules. I give a short outline. It will have 10 modules. Right now in this speech, Sherif and I did together with my colleague, we just outlined 4 of the 10 modules. So 10 modules, and in between each modules, we offer an ongoing coaching process. Because I know from my experience, when you just hear it once, when you have a cognitive understanding, you need an emotional understanding, and an emotional understanding means practicing, and experiencing, because you're getting better and better practice. Okay, so there are 10 short modules, about 90 minutes, and in between we do an ongoing individual coaching. And how you can book, I guess on the website, or we can contact you, how you can book. And what is it, how many people can join? Honestly, I strongly believe as smaller the group and more intense it's for each delegate, for each participant, the more benefit you get out of it. So I prefer, I only want to go small groups, 8 to 10 people, to really work together, 8 to 10 people in small groups. And then the coaching we can do individually. And the language, I see the language offered is, we start with English and German, and then we spread other languages too, if there's a demand. Does this answer your question, Seba? Okay.
I'm sure it does.
Okay.
Okay, we're ready to answer more questions.
Just wanted to highlight, I did not see the pool of questions. Maybe if you pose and make the pool of the survey that we have asked it for, then let the people answer the questions, and then if they have any more questions that they can put in on the chat here.
Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, the poll is still on, so if anybody didn't join, you can still go to the poll.
Okay, no further questions up until this moment.
So everybody, if you haven't gone to the poll, please click on the poll option there, and you'll find a question with 5 answers. So if you can do that, that would be good, and we'll share the results with you shortly.
What you can do is we can unmute everybody, and so we have an open discussion if you want. So everybody's unmuted. There will be some background noises, but it's okay. Okay, there's so much background noise.
Okay.
A lot of noise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for me, I could not find the pool. Can you?
Okay, I'm sorry. Moment, I can show the pool. So I got so 33 people answered the question. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So 48% said my current challenges. 48% says is keep my team motivated. I guess this is really critical. I know that's not easy, but this is absolutely what we're doing in the seminar. Okay, so 48% has said my challenge is keep my team motivated. 18% said working arrangements are not flexible, so they have to adjust that. 33% said budget constraints, sure, also budget. And that's interesting. Of course, 52% says I need to increase overall productivity. That's of course. And 6% is need to reduce street to be more. That's not the right question to pull. I mean, that's something. So just to summarize, it's all about increasing overall.
It needs to increase their productivity. Obviously, this is unanimous. Everybody wants to increase their productivity, and that's why we believe that these workshops, there's webinars, can definitely help you in increasing your overall productivity.
Somebody.
Yes, we have a question from Lihem. Hi, are you going to discuss in this course how to handle external challenges such as customers cutting budget and significantly reducing orders and revenue?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yes, we do that. It's important, of course, to increase your margins and to increase your sales, your performance. Absolutely, we will do that, Graham. Absolutely.
May I just add to that answer, Roland? Briham, if you notice in the beginning, we were saying that there are things that we can control and the things that we cannot control. And of course, this is part of the way we are learning it. If your clients are reducing the budget and customer cutting down the budget and significantly reducing the orders and so on, and this is something that we will be all facing in the coming few months, where all the companies are trying to reduce the cost. So wherever there is a chance to cut orders or to stop ordering or something like that, they will do it. And yes, these are the things that we cannot control. So this is the most important thing, is that how to focus on the things that we can control now. So if your clients are doing that, what are your strategies and what are your tactics that you're going to be taking in order to offset this kind of reduction? What else that you can do? How can you shift your products to fit into the new elements of the business now? Because now things are different. We were delivering all these kind of modules face-to-face, for example. And now we're doing this consultancy online, and we're doing this training online, and we're creating the platform to do that. So this is the idea of how you can shift quickly enough and respond to the disruption that is happening in the world, so that you can be able to offer your clients something that they will definitely want to buy, and it is matching the needs of what they have right now. And this is something that we will learn from the mindset of being able to control, to focus on the things that we can control, and not to get disrupted with the things that we cannot control.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you're going to learn in the course. Yeah, as Mohammed said. Yeah, you will learn to distinguish what you can control, what you can't control, and this is really critical. Where to pay attention, because when you focus on things you can't control, you or your team are playing drama. You're playing drama. You get and the challenge is that you get in a negative content loop. Yeah, and then the whole motivation is going down, 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 down. It's very different. It's easy to get out as when you recognize what's going on. Yeah, it's easy, but that's all what you learn in the course, to distinguish that, not only for you, but also for each team member. Yeah, working as what I call on the success star. So you will learn what triggers people to get in the negative content loop, how you recognize that you yourself or your team members are in a negative content loop. You will learn that. And then you will learn strategies, how to get out of it and stay focused, work on task again, and what you need to be successful. That's what you're going to learn in this course.
Yeah. And yeah, we have another question. No.
Yeah, we have another question from Narendra Sharma. She's saying, how do you envisage international business impact post-COVID affecting global firms and its business leaders to hold their teams motivated? You see some dips in business and alternatives emerging from firms to remain relevant.
Okay, shall I take this one?
Yes. Yeah.
Go ahead, Sherif.
Yeah, it is very important during this phase that all companies realize the situation and start acting on it. Yes, definitely, like you said, it is affecting all businesses. So it's one of the main things that we are going to be teaching and coaching and helping you with is keeping your teams motivated. And it's one of the key things, because I'm a true believer in communication and I'm a true believer in the power of people, is to keep your teams motivated. And it's very important. You need to take that extra mile, keep that communication flowing. Do a lot of meetings and do a lot of even these webinars. But yes, it's one of the things that are key, and that's why we mentioned, and that's why we stress on the communication part, how internal and external communication will affect the businesses. But internal communication is one of the main things, how to keep your teams motivated, and this is one of the things that we are going to discuss in the modules. Businesses around the world are doing some different things. They are motivating people. They are coming up with measures that can be maybe material, on the material side more. But I think that power of keeping that connection going between you as a manager, as a leader, or as a business owner and your team will definitely bring its fruits to your company going forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to add something, because you know we are so focusing on communication because it's so important. And when I say communication, I don't mean emailing. Email is not the proper way to communicate with teams. Email is a very good option to spread information so that everybody in the team has the information, the same information, but it's not for communication. For communication, it's picking up the phone or setting up a video conference, talk to people, and also give space about their anxieties of their private stuff. Give them space, having a private communication also, some socializing, because you know, people in this situation, your team, they're isolated in their homes, they don't see their colleagues, so there's no interchange. So give space for that too. It's all about communication. And there's less misunderstanding when you're picking up the phone or setting up a video conferences, because you don't only get the content, you also get the voice, the timbre. Maybe you in a video conference, see the other person, your guests, how they feel, are they engaged or not. So you will learn all about this. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Just if I understand how you think about the multinationals and international business, and I see where you're coming from. Normally, what leaders will be doing is that they will think about ways to cut costs. And in fact, when you start thinking about this, the first thing that comes to anyone in the management position or leadership position wise is that they start cutting the employees. So layoffs and making people stay at home. This is the things that they normally do in the multinationals. And how do you think that you can keep your people motivated while you're doing that? And this is something that is absolutely not the way business should be run. So the idea is that if you think about the business, the people are the ones who are getting the business, and the clients are 100% people. So think about your people first. And the idea is that when Peter Drucker was thinking about the father of management, when he was talking about cutting costs, I'm quoting Peter Drucker saying, if you want to really cut costs, the last thing that you want to do is actually cutting costs. So it's how do you manage the cost, and how do you manage your people to stay up motivated, because those people who would bring you the business now. So instead of laying off and then starting to, and those people who are the ones that know you better, that absolutely have been with for years with you, they understand your business, and laying off in this tough time and then starting recruiting when it comes back to normal, this does not happen. So it's part, and this is part of the way Roland is coaching the leadership. And when we coach the leadership, we coach them on the human level, not on the figures level and just the number level, where they just take immediate actions to cut the cost. And eventually what happens is that they reduce the cost and reduce the revenue as well. And that does not have any impact on the profitability.
Thank you very much, Munir and Roland, for that. We have another question from Christine George.
Yeah, I like that question.
How can we inspire two different teams to work together in a cooperation on projects, especially remotely, with two different mindsets, commercial and operational mindset?
Yeah, yes.
I think this will be the last.
It's an amazing. It's a very good question. I had the opportunity of working with remote teams in different countries on a single project. So a team in the United States, a team in Taiwan, a team in China, a team in Mexico, and we were all collaborating together, working on one of these projects. So yes, I understand what you're saying, that it's very difficult to, first of all, manage all these time zones, one thing, manage all these cultures, because culture is very important in handling, and at the same time also handling all the difficulties in mindsets and so on. So yes, it is very important, and it is one of the things that can actually tackle this would be the communication, but the leadership here, in order to be able to manage all these teams, is critical. And definitely one of the things that will change that game, will make it very different. If you had people, like I said, from all around the world, and you're working managing different time zones and so on, yeah, you definitely need a very good leader, very inspired leader, a very motivated leader, in order to do that with all the teams working with him.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Maybe if I add to Christine, how can we make it? And the short answer for that, but definitely we need to get more in depth of being able to understand how to do it, is that those teams, in order to be able to work together and effectively, and even with different mindsets, commercial and operation, and even sales, and sometimes in the marketing, everyone is having his background. They are looking at the product from a different perspective and different angles, and everyone is pulling in a different direction. So the marketing wants to spend, the finance does not want to spend, the operational want to make things happen, and the commercial maybe thinking about the cost and the revenues and so on. And that's created the difference. What's most important about this project is that they have a clear understanding of the why they are pulled together in order to do something together. So if they understand the why, what is the outcome? How are we going to be delivering that? Why are we doing this? Why are we all together in the same room working on the same project? And if they understand the why, they would be able to understand how would everyone contribute in his areas of expertise and subject matter expertise in order to make this why happen. And that's a different set of understanding of being able to tell and motivate the people of why are we going into this meeting, why are we going into this project, and how are we going to be affecting other people. And this is what we call passion. Once you get the why, you get the passion about things being done. While if you don't understand why are you doing this, this is getting into the teams and managing those people is called stress. You're going to be stressing, meeting with all those project players and all those people that they are only under stress in order to make things happen the way they see it. But if they understand the why, everything is going to be different. That's my opinion. Yeah.
Absolutely, because you know, Christine, there's no quick fix for that. Yeah, there's no quick fix for that. It takes some time to bring teams together, and I love that, because I do it in many years, supporting companies worldwide, bringing different teams together, and different, as Sherif said before, different cultures, different religious, ethical backgrounds, different stuff, bring that together. It takes time, but that's what you also will learn in the webinars and in the coaching, how to deal with that. And what I want to mention here is what we do is, before we start the webinar with you together, let's say this trainings and this coaching, is we have a very clear conversation in the beginning, so we know exactly where is the desired outcome for you, and where are we starting? Okay, so we always have a clear understanding where we are starting now, where we pick up you and your team, and before we start the journey, so that everybody is absolutely aligned on the same outcome. Everybody's aligned and knows exactly what we're doing in the beginning, and then we sure will be successful together. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this is where we're closing. We're 3 minutes behind the deadline for that. Thank you so much for all the conversation. It was very fruitful. The questions were really inspiring, and in fact, it tells us that you were engaged and you wanted to know more. And we were absolutely right on track in making these things happen for you. And we are on track of the things that really worries business leaders and team players in this time of the disruption that we are facing. All what I want to thank you, and please stay tuned for the coming webinar. It's going to be much more focusing on the remote leading of the virtual teams, and what are the skills and the mindset that we need to in order to be able to support the virtual leadership team. Because we think maybe we're going to be getting back to business soon, but as I said, it's not going to be as usual. Maybe we're going to be locked down again. Hopefully not, but this is not going to be back to normal, and we're going to be always working remotely in different teams and different areas of the business. So this is important for you to know. So stay tuned for the next webinar. And please, if you have any questions related with the training and so on, please drop us a note on our website, contact us, and we will definitely be able to contact you back, answering the questions and making sure that we're setting your requirements in the right place. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, everybody, and it was a pleasure being here with you, and we'll hope to see you soon.
Thank you. All right. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Ramadan Mubarak for all the people.
Bye.
Thank you. Roland, can you keep recording until everyone leaves? I think that we're getting some messages from the people, so that's good, and maybe some questions. So keep it until we get an empty room.
Yeah. Okay. Dave was writing, stay off the beach. I'm sorry to be colored, but I'm living in a country where it's warm. That's why I left Austria. Okie dokie.
Do I see Marwa on that? Marwa, you send me privately. How can I see Roland? How can I see a message that was sent privately?
When it's privately to you, then it's popped up to you. Then I can't see it.
Yeah, but
You'll see it in the chat window, Munir.
Click on chat.
Okay.
Click on chat.
Yeah, I'm on the chat, but I don't see I see the rest of the messages now.
Then you have to scroll.
There's a question. There's a question from Mohammed Al Adi.
Because
In these current COVID-19 circumstances and the unclarity of the timings and results, shall I somehow pause my business or boost it?
It's time for coffee.
Too bad that this question was answered, was asked late.
It's okay. I mean, we can give it. It would give it a quick feedback. It's yeah, it will show on the recording. The answer is to pause now, make the assessment, and then boost. Because in order to deal with the circumstances, then you have to assess. That's what Roland was discussing. Pause, and then what was the second stage?
Pause,
Roland?
reflect,
and then restart. Yeah. So the thing now to do is to pause and then start working on the small things, and then from there you'll be able to boost your business. Hope this answers your question, Mohammed Al-Adi.
Actually, there's a very good book from Ben Sherwood. It says, "Who survives? Why some people survive in challenging times and others not." It's all about how fast are you going out of the pause or the shock phase. Ben Sherwood, "Who Survives?" I can highly recommend.
Okay. Right. Okay, guys.
This is one of the main skills a manager leader should have, is to have the pause phase as short as possible and to stay on task. Okay. Good. I guess we can hold the recording.
Yep. Yeah.